Hey citizens, welcome to the Summer of Self-Love.
For many women, this season has often been met with trepidation, and our inbox has been overflowing with heartfelt messages from women seeking guidance on how to cultivate confidence and self-assurance this summer.
In response, we've gathered our dearest friends and top experts to support you on this journey. Together, we'll explore ways to change the way that we look at ourselves, our body image, and allow you to lead your best life with unwavering self-love and confidence.
This summer, let's celebrate ourselves and the beauty of our unique bodies.
Welcome to the Summer of Self-Love.
All right, take two. Take two. Just two professionals.
We are so professional.
Yeah. No, really.
Guys, welcome back to the Model Citizen Podcast, the Summer of Self-Love. We are still here. We're going. The response has been
you guys.
Real, you guys. First of all, we hit 1,000 followers on Instagram. Yay! Now, here's the thing. We should have hit this a year ago, but we were thwarted by Instagram because we were put in Instagram jail. We didn't realize.
Yep.
But we were posting, the things that we talk about, like SEX and LOVE.
Not us spelling it on.
And dude, I'm like nervous now because I
Apple and Spotify podcast. I know. I'm nervous too. I'm nervous to say it out loud in general because I don't know if there's if my home is being bugged.
How can it be that I can see someone's entire butthole on my page, but I can't say the word sex on Instagram without being thrown into jail, like Instagram jail?
So is Instagram's whole thing. So, but yes, you guys, thank you so much for all the love on the Summer Self-Love series. We are just so excited about it. We love that it has been really positively impacting you guys. I mean, that was the whole point. We just wanted to bring some positivity.
Be a fall of self-love. I mean,
the fall of loving oneself.
Now we have guests just literally jumping out for it.
Yeah, we do. And we're so grateful. And yes, dude, hitting 10K is crazy. That was our yearly goal this year. And
because we didn't realize, here's the thing. Once, our page is pretty dope. I always thought so. And so once people started finding it and we post fun memes and there's video and there's all cool, fun, silly stuff. And if you're part of the Goose Gang, you'll get a lot of the references we post. And so I was always why is this not growing? Guys, we were stuck at 4,681 for 3 years. It would literally, we would gain 10 followers and it wouldn't go up. So we were okay, something's going on. And then we deleted everything that mentioned anything that was PG-13 and
anything that would make anything that you couldn't play out loud at a Sunday mass, we deleted. So
pretty much.
Or at least we archived it. So maybe one day there will be enough where we can just bring some of that stuff back. Obviously, now going forward, we know that we have to bleep everything. That's really what it is we didn't know the importance of bleeping everything. Yeah, so now we know. We really didn't know, and now we know. We censor ourselves on reels, but you guys know if you come here, you guys know
you're gonna get the real deal. And if you come to Patreon, forget it, dude. It's so
not
X-rated.
Safe for work. Not safe for work and not safe for the kids, the car.
I want to say this is actually really great. We have a guest coming on today, which we're gonna get to in a minute, but I started working out again. And I know that you did too. And isn't it funny how I will literally work out for a week and I'm glowing.
Literally, bro.
I'm glowing.
No. Lynn, let me tell you, I literally did a whole thing of crunches the other day, and I was lifting my shirt up, showing Martin. I'm is it me or are you seeing?
Are you seeing?
I feel the delusional self-worth is what now we're gonna be, guys. We're gonna be delusionally self-confident. I'm showing my abs to everybody.
No, I'm literally I'm glowing, and everyone better watch out.
And the Olympics are going on right now. I've never felt more I can achieve. I'll be sitting watching the most incredible athletes doing the most incredible things, and I'm I think I can do this.
I think I can do. I'm not kidding. And I'm not kidding you about this.
I think I can.
This is so unreal. And I hope all the Olympians that listen to this know that we're kidding, but we're not kidding. I can do what you do.
Yeah. I mean, easy. Like with my hand.
I see Simone
and the,
Biles and I'm like,
I can also do that. And here's the funny thing is that like, that is why they are so good at what they do, because they make it look easy. Simone Biles makes literally doing a flip 15 feet in the air, which by the way is like, that defies actual physics. Like that defies gravity, because guess what? She's 4'8". She's 4'8".
Do a somersault.
She's jumping over Shaquille O'Neal. That's how high she's jumping. It's her body, her height plus Shaquille O'Neal. So it's Shaquille and the whole O'Neal. She's jumping over the whole thing. The other thing the Olympics has got me doing is being like, I'll be watching and I'm just like, oh my gosh, here comes Hashimoto. Like he's absolutely going to kill it. And then he does something and they're like, oh no, that was a mistake. And I'm like, this is so unlike Hashimoto. This is just not.
No, 100%.
Hashimoto.
Dude, no, literally
never heard of the man before today. And yet this is unlike him.
It is unlike him. I am a mega fan. I was watching it in the gym earlier and I was watching the men's diving and I was like, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with the scoring there. That was not only am I mega fans of the people, I'm mega fan of the sport, of each sport.
You are a men's diving expert.
I'm a men's diving expert and we've known this since the jump. Yeah. I didn't realize that ping pong was a Olympic sport.
Yes. I knew this because I'm a huge absolutely. I think that we could have been the Serena and Venus Williams of ping pong championing.
Yeah.
Is all I have to say about that. I think also what's so funny is like, and I posted this early to my stories, it's like you'll be watching something, you'll be like, oh my God, that is the most amazing feat of physical acuity I've ever seen. And the judges are like, easily one of their worst performances.
I know, dude.
And you're just like, wait, what?
No, I know. It's literally, you're just like.
Just seeing people do like fucking archery from 17 miles away, hitting basically the center bullseye. And the judges are like, this is so unfortunate for them. They must be heartbroken.
Their families are looking devastated. You're like.
Pans to the entire country on their shoulders, and they've disappointed them. I can't imagine how they feel right now. Meanwhile, I've literally never seen such incredible athleticism in my life.
Never, dude. Never.
Which is maybe a commentary on like how little I'm around athletes. I am around the athletes' girlfriends and wives, though, to be fair. But no,
that's true.
It's definitely like one of those things where you're just like, oh, I don't know anything about. Like literally, we were watching fencing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he got him. He lost. He literally
Here's
lost.
The thing. I don't know anything about anything. Do you understand me? No. I look at this and they could be like, oh, she nailed it. She did it. She did it. She did it. Oh, she landed it. Everyone looks the same to me.
Yeah.
And that is really wild and is everything about me and nothing about them. And it's how uncultured I am.
Right.
Absolutely. God, dude, the Olympics, they must feel so cool. Like you were the best. Like we were explaining it to my stepdaughter and she was like, so what is the Olympics? And we were like, this is like, okay, there's like the Super Bowl and then it's like the best in the Super Bowl goes to the Olympics. Like this is the best in the world. Like they are representing the world, like your nation.
And they've had to qualify over and over and over. Even when they get to the Olympics, they have qualifying where you may not get to perform, which is what happened with the French gymnastics team. And I know this because I am a authority on French gymnastics. It's specifically French gymnastics because this is a French podcast, but they didn't qualify to actually compete. Why? I believe because they didn't get the numbers. You have to go and you have to get the numbers in order to compete.
I think everyone should have a chance.
Okay, well, and this is why we're not in sports because we have way too much sportsmanship and we have no will to win.
That's true, dude.
We're just like, we just hope everyone has a good time. And it's like, no, that's not a winning spirit.
I literally do not have a winning spirit. Here's the thing. You do have a bit of a winning spirit.
I'm competitive.
Like games and stuff. You are competitive. Yeah. I have the absolute loser mentality.
The second someone starts to get rowdy about anything, Hunter's like, I don't want to play anymore. I just don't want to play. I don't care.
Literally don't want to play.
No, you don't want to play anymore, dude. When we all get together for Christmas and like me and Martin are extremely competitive and especially when it comes to games.
And then throw in dad.
Oh, and then throw in dad. And it's just, it is all bad. And the second one of us is like, I don't think that's true. Hunter was like, I'm not playing anymore.
No, I literally, it's like PTSD. I'm like, I'm going to go upstairs. It's time for bed.
Dude, we
like,
had one bad experience with Taboo as a family, and that was it.
That nearly broke us as a family.
Nearly broke us. Oh my gosh.
All right, guys. Well, speaking of sports, we have someone that I'm very excited to have on. I love this woman so much. Actually, I don't even know if, our listeners, we didn't start our podcast during when I was in Sports Illustrated. This was 2018?
Yeah.
This is Miss Megan Roup, who has trained me for Sports Illustrated for 2 different seasons. She is a trainer to the stars, you guys. She does like all the Victoria's Secret models. She does Dakota Johnson as her client, Miranda Kerr, Elsa Hosk, moi, little
Mwah, just a cover. Sports Illustrated cover model, Hunter McGrady. She's an icon, truly. She studied at Tisch, by the way, guys. Like, it's giving dancer. It's giving School of Arts. Okay.
She's giving School of Arts. And I also love, did you see that she was a Brooklyn Nets dancer? So that's she'll get into it, but this is kind of how she started her app called the Sculpt Society, which I know that literally all you girlies did, especially during the pandemic. Because
I know I did.
Oh my God. So good. And you guys can also check out, Megan and I actually have a 13-minute booty burn workout and a 12-minute arms workout on her app. So,
which is what I love, by the way, about Megan. I love that she does these like short workouts because they're like impactful, but they're like for busy gals, you know? And we're going to get into it, obviously. And we're going to get into the way that she presents getting active and moving your body without diet culture, without all of the like negative stigma that makes you feel like shit. Like, Megan is here to like really show you how to be active in a way that's like still loving your body. So very excited to have Megan on, and let's let her in.
Welcome, Megan Roup, to the podcast. We're so excited, Megan. We just did a little intro for you, talking about all that you are, how we met back in the day when I was shooting for Sports Illustrated in 2000 and I think 18 and 19.
Hunter, did I DM you? I can't even remember how I...
Or did I DM you? I don't even know. I think this was before
you.
Sculpt Society.
No. It was Sculpt Society. It was before the app, but I was teaching.
It was before the app, right? And you had told me about that app. You were like, we're doing an app. And I was like, oh my God. And now it's like, oh my gosh, Megan, it's just, you've taken over this space and in such a beautiful way. And we were talking about how everybody knows the Sculpt Society. Like, I go out and about and everybody knows Sculpt Society. It's like how Tracy Anderson was, right? It's like how it's just everyone knows it. And I think, and we'll get into that because I think that you have created such an inclusive space for women. And first, we want to kind of take it back to how you got started in this. You went to NYU Tisch, and which is major.
Yeah,
huge.
it was, So I grew up dancing my entire life. I was on the high school dance team, but I don't think dance was ever presented to me from like my parents' perspective as a career. I kind of only saw it as like, you could go and be a dancer with a company. And so my freshman year of college, I actually went to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, which not a lot of people know. I was like an English major. I was a fish out of water. I was like, I'm not dancing anymore. That's like not my career path. And it was a really dark year of my life. I don't think I really understood what I was giving up. And it took me a full year of being away from dance to realize just that I had stepped away from my true purpose. So it took me a while to, my sophomore year, I ended my journey at Cal Poly. I moved to LA. It was too late to transfer anywhere. So I was, alone in LA trying to get back into taking dance classes because it had been a year of not taking dance. And then I eventually transferred to NYU's Tisch dance program, which was a dream. And
huge.
It was truly a dream. And, I was able to get back into that career path, but it really took me a while. And unfortunately, and I'm sure we'll dive into that, my freshman year of college, I was unaware of those emotions that I was having about leaving my pursuit of dance. And instead of addressing that sadness,
Yeah.
I turned to over exercising, um, and unfortunately bad behavior around food. And so
Right.
Yeah.
those behaviors my freshman year really, I took with me into my mid 20s. And it took me a really long time to understand and unpack and undo what I had done or started really in that freshman year of college. And thankfully, I saw a therapist after I'd left Cal
Yeah.
Poly, and she really allowed me to see how I had used food and over exercising to numb actually how I was feeling. And it was like the first time
Right.
it had been put to me that way. And had felt so
Yeah.
confused up until that point as to why I was feeling this way, because up until that point I'd had a pretty healthy, thankfully, relationship with food and my body,
Right.
even as a dancer growing up. So yeah, it took me until then. So, I get into my mid 20s. I'm really working on myself, healing my relationship with food and my body. I read a book called Woman, Food, and God, which is all about intuitive eating. And then also wish I had been in therapy then. I should have been.
Mm-hmm.
I then start to teach fitness while I'm dancing professionally. And I really start to fall in love with connecting with other women on how to feel confident in their bodies. Because for me, it had been such a journey to get to a place to feel good in my body, and to be
Yeah.
able to share that with other women was really impactful. And so while I'm dancing professionally, I'm teaching fitness, and then I'm just starting to really dive into fitness and taking different boutique classes in New York. I mean, you guys know, like, New York was exploding in the boutique fitness scene. There
Yeah.
were tons of different
Yeah.
Totally.
modalities and classes to take, and that was really fun for me to do. But at the same time, I kept on just feeling like this can be done in a much more inclusive, positive way. Why are we making this so hard for women to show up? Why are we making them feel terrible about themselves in a very vulnerable space? I
Yep.
want to create a class and a community that feels welcoming, that feels like anyone at any level can come in, whether they have a dance background or not, and get an amazing, fun, kick ass class and feel leaving really confident, and just infuse it with that experience. And I look back and I'm like, I was creating the experience that I needed when I was
Yeah.
going through it in my early 20s, And
Right.
so
Yes.
really approaching it from that level in New York. And so the early days, it was teaching in real life classes. And then fast forward to 2019, I launched the digital experience, which is now the Sculpt Society app.
It must have
Yeah.
been really impactful, though, for you to launch that right before COVID, when it was like, okay, now none of us can go out. Like, none of us can go to our gyms. None of us
Yeah.
can go to our classes. We have this app.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was just like divine timing that it happened? Do you feel
Yes.
like that really just
Yes.
like helped catapult the success of the app?
Yeah, I think, we had launched, gosh, it had been like 4 months pre-COVID of it launching, and we had
Yeah.
all of these
Oh
goals, and
my
we were
gosh.
super excited. It was in the infancy of spreading the word about the product, and digital fitness
Mhm.
was already, starting to become popular. Peloton was there. There was People were starting to understand what the digital landscape was. But of course, COVID happens. And I think what was beautiful for me is that I was able to talk to so many more people about how to work out at home versus,
Right.
Mhm.
if the pandemic hadn't happened, I think just the way we approach working out, people felt like they had to be in a class to get a really great workout from your home. And I think what the pandemic taught us is you can get a really great workout from the comfort of your home.
Yeah, and
Yes.
you give us that really great workout. I was telling Michaela that we actually have the 13-minute booty
Yeah.
buster workout on your
Yeah.
app, and then we have 12-minute arms. And you know, uh, as a plus size woman, gyms and me, when I was younger, I was very, very thin, and I was, addicted to going to the gym, and same with Michaela. And we also had a really bad relationship with food. And then I got heavier, and I started looking at the gym as like a very scary place because
Mhm.
I felt immediately judged when I came in. It's
Yeah.
like that, it always goes back to why aren't you working out? And then it's you come in and they're like, oh my God, look at that fat girl working out. Right.
Mhm.
So it's like
Mm,
there's no win. And
mm,
so when I worked out with you, I felt so good. I could just be me and show up, and like I think the biggest aha moment for me when I started working out with you was that I didn't have to do like the really heavy weights, and I didn't have to do, an hour and a half class, or
Yeah.
like you would do things and modify for me and my body type and my body size and what I was able to do. And I felt it in like places I had never felt before.
Yeah.
And I love that you offer that. And I love that you create this space for us to come in and be ourselves and feel excited for working out,
Yeah.
because I honestly cannot say, like, only a couple times in my life before you had I been excited to work out.
So
Um
much. No, I
and
think
it's
it's reframing things. I think as women
yeah,
too, right? We think we need to be doing all of this cardio. We need to be working out for hours a day. Working out
right.
needs to be about changing and fixing our bodies, right? We're so fixated on that. And I think
Yeah.
it's just coming at it and approaching it from a different lens of, hey, what if it wasn't about changing our body? The results are going to come, but what if we approach it from a mental health tool? What if we approach it from, hey, I want to feel less anxiety. I want to feel less stressed. I want to build a consistent habit for the rest of my life, right? I always say, like, working out's not for the next 30-day program. It's for the rest of your life. So how can
Yeah.
we build a sustainable habit for you that you can show up to daily? And then also switching around, I think it's really hard for women to think, if I'm not doing an hour plus, sometimes or even 30 minutes plus, then it's not a workout. And I think the
Right.
reframing of committing to less so that you can show up more has given a lot of women the sense of freedom. Like, oh, I can just do 10 minutes today. I could do 5 minutes today. And that's fine because I'm building a consistency. And to me, that's where the beautiful habit, the power of fitness comes, is from the habit, because you're energetically shifting how you physically and mentally feel in your body within just 5 minutes. And that goes into the rest of your day. That's going to make
I have to get over
impact,
that.
right?
Of just like, 5 minutes isn't enough, or like, 10 minutes isn't enough.
But
Because
incrementally
I
over
think
time, it is, because your body starts to crave it, your mental health starts to crave it, and maybe you start to build upon that. Maybe sometimes it is 5 minutes, and maybe sometimes it's 30 minutes, but you're getting into the habit of moving your body daily. And so,
The other how long does it take to build a habit? Is it 14 days?
Oh yeah.
I feel like they always go back. I think it's 21 days.
21 days. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also love that you you spoke a lot about, and you do a lot of workouts where you're like in your sweatpants. You're like, just roll out of bed and do something. I feel like that also goes hand in hand with the whole, I have to do an hour-long workout. I have to be in my leggings and my matching workout. Like, I have to be doing all these things. And it's like, that's just simply not true. What you're wearing has nothing to do with the way that you're moving your body. Listen, if you feel good wearing it, cool. But like, you can just literally roll out of your bed and onto your mat and just like do these workouts if that's where your mind is at that day.
Yeah, it's how do we make the barrier to entry easier for people? And I think it's just stripping away some of those feelings. And if you're approaching fitness and maybe the motivation isn't helping, that you feel, maybe you do feel uncomfortable, or it feels overwhelming. You're like, where I want to go and where I am right now feels overwhelming. Shift the perspective of, I just want to feel more energetic today. I want to feel less anxious. And I think that's helpful for me, even on the days where I have to self-motivate. People are like, oh, you do this for your living. Well, I have 2 kids. I'm running a business. I'm busy. Like, I get it. I get that self-motivation is tough sometimes. And really, those are the days that I lean on that mantra of like, okay, I'm going to commit to a shorter workout so that I can show up more. And honestly, there are so many days in the week where I'm just doing 10 minutes.
Yeah. That makes me feel so good too, hearing it from you. You know what I mean? Because it's like, we always think, oh, she's a personal trainer. She's doing all she's doing all day long is
Let me tell you, I've never worked out less. I've never worked out less. I'm telling you. And I've never felt better.
Which is so great to hear. And I think that, it's like, we have this, and the reason we have this is because there are a lot of people out there who are really, I mean, I get shamed all the time from personal trainers on my Instagram, and, they're like the number one who come on and point at my body. And, nothing makes me not want to work out more than someone shaming me for the way that I look, right? You come so you were a cheerleader for the Brooklyn Nets. Did this
Dancer.
was that a
Dancer.
dancer? Was that like a because I know we've just Kayla and I always talk about we were watching even the
DDC.
Dallas.
Or
Yes.
DCC, sorry. Yeah. I'm watching it
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my
I
God.
know.
The is like the weigh-ins and the everything that they have to do. Like, is that
yeah.
still very prevalent?
I was shocked, to be honest, to watch that and think, is this still going on? And I
Yeah.
was really
Yeah.
shocked that they kind of showed a lot of that stuff.
Right.
Yes.
I certainly, some of the things I witnessed in my professional career, I would have thought would, have been retired and not been in accordance. I know for
Yeah.
me, I went back for my Nets alumni performance last year in Brooklyn.
I love that.
I know I
So
was
fun.
so nervous. I was 4 months
Oh.
pregnant, and it had been 10 years since I'd performed professionally, but it
Oh
was
my
super
God.
fun. And I will say, I
Yeah.
did talk to the girls on the current team, and a lot of those practices are not happening. But to see
Good.
it,
Yeah.
to see some of that stuff happen
Mm.
with DCC, I was really shocked that that's still happening. And it's really sad because you can see the mental health effects for some of these women, right? You can see directly,
Yeah.
they show years past where they're critiqued about their body, and then you can see now
Yeah.
that they're having disordered eating habits or
Yeah.
unhealthy things happening, and that's
Yeah.
really so sad to me. So yeah, I think, but then I talked to so many former athletes, like former D1 athletes, who you think, oh, it's just dance, but you talk to anyone, I think, that's moving their body, and there's or not, I don't know, women as a whole, we've just all gone through some
Oh, yeah.
experience where our body has been shamed in some way, and that's deeply affected
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And I think that, when Hunter's talking about like the shaming that is done by it's personal trainers, but it's just across the world. But like
Everyone.
you
Yeah.
as somebody who is in this space,
Yeah.
like how do you feel, and what would you say to these trainers who are utilizing this shame, or they're utilizing these like antiquated kind of diet culture infused ideals to try and motivate people, or to get people over? What do you say to someone that is like that?
I mean, I get very angry. I see that type of
Yeah.
behavior, and to me, it's feeding into this toxic diet culture that
Yeah.
perpetuates women over the years and has caused, like we just talked about, has caused such negativity in women's lives. And I get so angry because I'm so sick of it, and I'm trying to do the exact opposite for the fitness industry and be, not use triggering language, not talk about women's
Yeah.
bodies in a certain way, and to show representation on my app so that other women can feel, I realize I am a thin white woman, right? Like, it is important
Mm.
to me that if you log on and you are not, that you're seeing other body types on my app and the women that I have on my app. So I get so angry because it just continues to be this never ending cycle for women, and the messaging that we're getting, whether it's in the media or on Instagram, or like you said, if you're seeing trainers talk to other women like that, it's like, when is this going to stop? It needs to stop.
Yeah. It makes fitness scary,
Yeah.
And exactly. And
and
then
it
and then no one wants to do what we actually want to do and motivate, which is get people to
yeah.
move their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that they think, oh, we're going to bully them into it. There's a very prominent gym in Manhattan, and a lot of celebrities go there and work out. And I had gone in a couple times to work out there, and all over the wall was basically like, move your fat ass, and
Oh
like
no, 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 no.
sweat is just your fat
Oh
butt
no.
crying, or whatever
Oh
it was.
no.
And
Oh,
I told it was me and Katie Starino, and Katie, she's
love
like
Katie.
bold, and she just says what's on her mind, right? And we both pulled the owner over, and we were like, you need to take this down. We don't feel comfortable here. Like, this isn't us being like snowflakes, right? Being like, oh, we don't feel comfortable with this. It's like, no, this is actually, if I was any woman, I would come in here and I'd be like, ooh, that's like bullying. I don't feel like you can't bully me into this, right? It pushes me away.
Yeah.
Whatever you think you're trying to do. And so that's why I love what you have done.
Thank you. It's such a male energy too. Like, I think it's that like that boot camp style of like yelling at someone. Like as a female, I do the exact opposite of like that energy.
Yeah.
Like I don't respond to that.
You like nurture. Yeah.
I'm like,
which is like, if you're a guy and you like that, then like, okay, go to that gym. But like, if there's women involved, like, please take these things down. I mean, they're giving toxic. They're giving toxic energy.
It's horrifying.
And it's not motivating.
No.
Right. Absolutely. I want to know, so, okay, what are your thoughts because you, of course, have the Sculpt Society, and then you have private clients, and you've worked with so many incredible, celebrities, women. I'm sure you work with men too. What is BMI ever something that you bring up or talk about, or is it in your repertoire as a trainer?
It's really not. I think they've debunked BMI. Didn't the CDC come out with something last year where it's like not a correct representation of someone's health? You know, I don't know, I'm blanking on her name, the Olympian rugby player who went off about her BMI. Yeah. You know, she's been told that she's been overweight for years, and I don't think that it actually took in her muscle mass to height, whatever it is. You know, I think there's just it's just never, I know there's a lot of trainers at like different studios, like measure women's bodies too. Like that again, to me, that's just not, that is just feeding into toxic diet culture, and it's not motivating my clients. It doesn't motivate me. And at the end of the day, like that's the whole purpose, right? We're trying to transform how people are working out, and it's not based on someone's BMI.
Yeah. It's funny. I'll never forget a moment that I went to a 24-hour fitness, and you know how they have those trainers, like, you know, you do for like a month. I think I was like 17, and I was very, very thin. I mean, I'm 6 feet tall, and I was probably about 120 pounds then. Oh, wow. And they took, you know, one of those measurement BMI things that like they squeeze your stomach, and like they kind of measure it that way. And I remember him saying, you know, you're really high on the chart, right? So like you see obese is here. I'm 6 feet tall, 120 pounds.
What?
Like I'm literally a size 6'8", right? I sobbed in the car because I'm like, oh my God. And after that, I was like, that's it. I'm, you know, continuing to count my calories. I'm going to work out hours a day. I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. And I remember seeing that. And it's funny because my husband and I had talked about this recently because he went to the doctor. My husband works out every single day at 5 a.m. He does not miss a day. He is the most
He's crazy with it. Yeah.
He is 47, but he looks 30. He has the stamina of a 30-year-old. He, on his BMI chart, they were like, yeah, you're high up there. The man, you could pinch him and he has no body fat. I'm like, this is crazy talk. Yeah. So when people, because that is one thing that Michaela and I often get, right? Is like, oh, well, their BMI is so-and-so. And I think in this fitness space, it's often so much about, you know, those hot button words, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, about the way someone looks equals their health, right? Yeah. And that's just not true. And you, I'm sure, can speak to this, right? Yeah. The thing is it's like I've worked with trainers who, you know, I've been thin, I've been big, I've been in the middle, and like my health has been up and down. Yeah. And I always think, and you can talk this, like it's about your numbers as far as like your blood numbers, your cholesterol, your blood pressure, things like that. And like, let's work out to make those things better instead of being like the thinnest version of ourselves. Right. Mm.
Well, it even goes back to like before and afters, right? Like, it's like this, like the thin version is the better version, which I cringe at. And I think too, you have to be really mindful of like where you're getting your information from. I'm not a doctor. And also some doctors need more education too on how they speak to their clients, but like making sure, that like you're getting that. I don't know that a trainer should be measuring your BMI unless they have like extensive blood work from you and all of that information, your background. You know, there's there's just so much more that goes into that. And I just think it starts to get dangerous. And just like you said, 17-year-old, 16-year-old self, that made such a big impact on your health in a negative way. And maybe your mental health too, and how you then approached food, that like, I think we just have to be, especially if you're working in the health and wellness space, really mindful on like how you're talking to women and men, how you're gathering information. I just think a lot of us, even when it comes to nutrition, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not going to tell you how to eat. Like, this is like how I eat is like working for my body. It's not going to work for your body necessarily. I don't know your past. I don't know your blood levels. So there's just so much, to me, like missing information when it comes to that.
Yep.
I think it also probably stems from the fact that our culture loves bite-sized information. And this extends to every like facet of our world, right? And so it's like, unfortunately, the human body cannot be, put down to bite-sized information. Like, everyone has to take a holistic approach in, your doctor, your nutritionist, your personal trainer, your own gym. Like, I love how you're basically saying these people need to stay in their lanes. If you are a personal trainer, don't get out scalpels and weird stuff and do mathematics about somebody's body. Like, that takes intravenous, work for you to check all that information. And it's so just one of those things where I really wish people would just understand that you cannot get this in bite-sized, tiny little like a little form.
Yeah. This is what I should do. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone is so unique and different. And, I just, when we're talking about like the before and after photos, things like that, I definitely had an experience where I was very, 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 very sick for a period of time. And I lost a lot of weight during that period. And I remember the compliments that I was getting and how uncomfortable it made me feel, because I was like, I literally was sick. I was actually sick to get to my body the way it is. And people kept saying, oh, make sure you keep it off. And I'm like, you want me to stay sick? Like, I don't understand. You want me to get sick again? Like, I don't understand. But this isn't normal or natural. So it's like, when you look at before and afters, and when you propagate before and afters, you people are not thinking about the story behind that, and like how that could be impacting somebody in such a negative way. You think you're being positive and supportive, and you could be literally breaking that person's heart, which is what I experienced at that time. So
and also just the like, you might even just be, you're seeing before and afters, and you don't know what like subconsciously that's telling, like, you constantly see that messaging. You start to think that the after is better.
Right. Megan, you train literally Victoria's Secret angels, you train celebrities, and the people who, so much of society revere as far as bodies go. And you yourself are, you are like, have truly such an incredible body. Of course, we all do. But I want to know, do you ever still deal with that, self-doubt or insecurity? You have 2 young kids now, you've been postpartum twice. And can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think, I got to a point in my like mid 30s where I was like, okay, I've conquered this. I'm on the other side. This feels so good. And then I got pregnant. And that really conjured up both times some of these old belief systems, these old stories I would tell myself. And that really threw me. I think the second time obviously didn't throw me as much, but I was still frustrated that I was feeling that way. And so just really having to, as simple as it sounds, tune into my inner dialogue, tune into the stories that I have on repeat, reframe it, take a pause, take a breath, other toolbox, move my body, talk about those feelings with other people. I think anytime we see our bodies changing and moving away from how we think that they're supposed to look, at least for me during pregnancy, some of those feelings came up. And, I'm 10 months postpartum now. And it's maybe not so much like, I think it's more just still feeling slightly weaker than I did
Yeah.
before, and
Yeah.
just being a little frustrated on that front. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's so important that we have these conversations, because I do think if you're in pregnancy and you're feeling that way, it can feel really lonely and isolating, and like, oh, shameful, and in a way, like, oh, I'm the only one
Yeah.
that is feeling an effect from the changes that are happening. And I think the more we can talk about it and normalize it and
Yeah.
share tips and
Like
tricks,
even trainers and fitness gurus feel
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
Like there's a lot of shame around bounce back culture, and
yeah,
we'll get your body right back, and
yeah.
it's like, well, okay, that's just also not
Not
maybe
helpful.
possible for some people, and
Yeah,
and a lot of times it's genetics, right?
yeah,
Like that, or
yeah.
we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Hunter,
So
how did
I'm
you feel in your pregnancies as your body was changing?
It's really funny because while I was pregnant, I felt probably the most confident I've ever
Mm,
felt in my
mm,
body, because I felt like society was saying it's okay for you to look like that because you're
mm,
pregnant. And
Mhm. Mm.
that is something I have had to deal with postpartum,
mm,
where, why is that? Well, it's because, well, you have a baby in you. And so that's okay.
mm,
And that's twisted, right?
mm,
And so I felt like once, my kids came out, and I still looked a little pregnant, and I felt, oh, now I feel really insecure because I have
mm,
nothing that can shield me from society, right? And I have a new body that I've had to meet, and I have stretch marks everywhere, and I have loose
mm,
skin, and
mm,
and I've had to do a lot of my going back into that toolbox and doing that body work, and that self work of, okay, we're back here again, because
yeah,
you meet different versions of yourself,
yeah,
even from baby one to baby two. That's a
mm-hmm,
different body,
mm-hmm,
right?
Mm.
yeah,
And it was very weird. It was very up and down. But I think, as with society, especially when you're pregnant, we say it's okay, you can look like that. You have a
yeah,
baby, you're giving life, and then the moment you have
yeah,
birth, it's, well, when are you going to get back on track?
yeah,
Mm.
And it's this revolving thing of, okay, that's all you're good for, right?
right,
Yeah.
Basically,
right,
like your body giving birth, but
yeah,
it's like it's
yeah,
so antiquated and crazy, and I felt that. So that's, there's a lot of unlearning to go with
mm-hmm.
that, and
A lot
and
of unlearning.
yeah, and we're only human, right? Like, I don't there's no one that will ever get through this life unscathed with feeling not feeling insecurity of some kind, or not feeling 100%. It's just about, how do we combat that, right? And I think that what I love so much about your content, the Sculpt Society app, your workouts, knowing you personally, working out with you personally, is that it changed fitness for me.
Mm,
I had a really bad relationship with fitness, where I thought, can I be body positive if I'm like working out? Like,
mm,
is this like, am I working out then to just look a certain way? But
mm,
I wasn't seeing you for that. I mean, every single
mm-hmm,
time I would work out with you, right? Before we even started, I'd be like, I like the way I look. I just
mm-hmm,
want to be strong.
mm-hmm,
I want to feel powerful. I want to
mm-hmm,
have energy.
mm-hmm.
And that was always our goal when we worked
Yeah,
out together. And so, but the way that you approached it changed it for me, where, okay, yeah, if anything, that's the most positive thing you can do for yourself.
yeah,
If it makes you feel good, if it
yeah,
releases that anxiety, if it, you leave feeling good, and feeling lighter, not in the physical sense, but in the emotional and the
yeah,
spiritual, and
yeah,
everything else. That is what's so
yeah,
important. And I wish that people would approach fitness in that way,
yeah,
because I think that we would have a much greater conversation about it, and it would be way less scary. And if we could go into classes and
mm-hmm,
feel included and
mm-hmm,
feel seen, and not like we have to cover up,
yeah,
um, I think that it would be revolutionary. And,
yeah.
and I think what you're doing, has been so revolutionary.
No, thank you. I mean, yeah, it kind of goes back to this feeling, and I don't know if you felt this way, but like that the thin body is the only one allowed to work out, right? Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
all other bodies?
Absolutely.
Why can't curvy girls work out? Like, I just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's just, again, like you said, it's like coming back to like, why are we moving our body? And I think you can move your body for a lot of different reasons, but if you're overwhelmed and feeling stuck, like simplify it a little bit about like, I want to feel more energy or I want to feel less anxiety. I think that's really helpful. And also just like you said, creating spaces where women of different shapes feel comfortable to come into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's that representation, which is so lacking in the fitness space.
Yeah.
And I think you providing that is showing so many women, which is going to echo through generations, because it starts with us as a generation to say, to provide that representation. And then our daughters can look and see, okay, I this is my body working out. I can do it too. And, for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
So the fact that you provided that inclusion is so important.
Listen, I'm not perfect. I've still got a ways to go, but I feel like I've got some amazing workout videos with some curvy girls on Sculpt Society. And I hope I can just continue to showcase that.
I love it. And you worked out pregnant too, which was so cool.
Yeah.
Also having 2 daughters, do you feel that responsibility of, okay, I know I'm this fitness, person, this guru, right? Like, but I want to approach it in a different way than what, they're going to see. Like, do you feel like that's something that you have thought about? I mean, they're still so little, but
yeah. Especially, what makes me a little even more scared is my mom was amazing. She never talked negatively about her body. She always, just was like,
I love that.
Yeah, she was never on a diet. Like, she was such a beautiful representation, yet I still went through what I went through in my early 20s. So what I get nervous about is, even if it's being modeled at home, how do I protect my girls from that mindset? And again, I don't know that mine came from just not knowing how to deal with emotionally what I was going through as I was like not pursuing dance. And that was a way of like coping skills. But I think about it all the time. It's really scary. I think even in today's society with social media, like growing up with social media, how do I protect them from screens? How do I protect them from unrealistic expectations of what women should be looking like? And I do not have the answers. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm modeling it at home. There's no like negative self-talk. There's no diets. We are just showing that.
Well, the media has such a massive impact. And I think that that's why these conversations are even more important to have, because we can model it as much as we want to and as much as we can at home. But like, Hunter and I take our jobs very seriously of having platforms where we are like, in magazines, or we're like, in Hunter's case,
on
in Target ads, on Sports Illustrated, like places where people are is important to just see that. And so we're changing what the media is saying too. It's like like an all-encompassing, change it at home, change it in the media. Because I know, like, I'm a child of the 2000s, a teenager of the 2000s, and that shit fucked me up. That did a number on our generation. The Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, Olsen twin generation did a number on all of us.
Well, and it feels scary. Don't you feel like we're kind of like going back to that? Like I'm like, I'm seeing so much going back to that, and it scares me. And it not for me, because I have done the work and I have my, toolbox and I'm actively doing the work, but for those who are impressionable right now, and I was actually going through the comments on our video, and there was a kid in there that was like even 8 years old, and he was like, I'm working out with my mom. I don't know if you even saw that.
I don't think I saw that.
And I was like, how great. It was to our video, right? Like, I love that you can do it together. It's not something that your space that you've created is anyone can join, right? Like that's what's so fun about it. What would you say to, for our listeners? We have a very loyal female, mostly female listenership. And if you're in a rut or you want to get started with moving your body, what does that look like? What are some action steps that they can take?
Like a true beginner
to get going.
Yes,
true beginner.
I've got some tips. if you're a true beginner, make sure you are getting into the right classes for your level. If someone came into the Sculpt Society and they were a beginner and they took an intermediate class, they're going to walk out feeling really unsuccessful. So make sure you're taking a slower pace, more gentle class. So a beginner class, very important. I also think this, if you're going from 0 to 100, we know this time and time again, it just doesn't work. So commit to less so that you can show up more. I'm going to say that over and over again, especially if you're a
say
beginner.
it again. Commit to less, ladies, so you can show up more.
So I would want you to start 2 to 3 times a week, do a 5 or 10 minute video, commit to that, be really successful in it. And then over time, I want you to start to add maybe one more day or maybe one more 5-minute video. Just getting in that, building that consistency, that habit. And then as cheesy as this third tip is, it's so important because so many people aren't doing it. Find the workout that resonates with you. Do you like yoga? Yeah. Do you hate yoga? Do you like sculpt classes? Do you hate it? Like find something that resonates with you, because when you enjoy something and it feels joyful, your body can feel that. Your body knows when you're enjoying something, and then it just becomes a little easier to go back to it. It's so important. And I think it's like drinking water, right? We all know we need to be drinking water, but do we drink enough water? Probably not. Like, so those 3 tips, I think if you're just starting out, are super important.
I love that so much. And, one more thing, because I know we've taken up so much of your time, but I love, Megan, how, at every step of the way, I was like, is there a modification for that? And you're like, yep, no problem. It was never,
don't feel guilty about the modifications.
Do the modifications, right? And I still felt like I got the workout in and I felt good.
There's so many modifications. I'm really big on cueing my members through workouts and giving modifications. The worst thing is to leave a class and feel like I couldn't do half of those moves. There are so many modifications for so many exercises. And it's our job as trainers to provide those. So, I mean, that means so much to me that you felt that.
I love that. What is next for Sculpt Society? Is there anything? I know you guys, are coming out with you have products.
We've got product. We are about to launch a big, so we've started to do activewear, which is really exciting. So we have a couple of activewear drops this year.
Yay.
We'll send you some fun stuff. And then we've got some really fun and really, I think, powerful program launches happening this fall for different stages of a woman's life. It's really important to me that, like, no matter what stage you're in, whether you're in college, right? We've got dorm room workouts, we have cycle syncing, we have pre and postnatal, we just making sure, like, whatever phase of life that you're in, we're there for physical, emotional support, having conversations. It's just, I think I've been through so much, and I just want to make sure that, like, I'm there providing support along the way for everyone's journey.
That. And
can you speak a little to the cycle syncing real quick? Because I just found out about this pretty recently, the concept of cycle syncing in workouts. What can you tell our listeners a little bit about?
What is cycle syncing?
Yeah, so you have 4 stages of your cycle. This is what was really fun for me. This was actually a community-led program. Like, we just kept hearing this over and over again from our members who wanted more guidance. And so you have 4 phases of your cycle. So say you're on your menstrual phase of your cycle, and it's like, what should I do to help support my body in this phase? And so just giving you a list of different workouts to do in that phase, your luteal phase, your follicular. So just all of those and just kind of.
Is that on the app?
It's on the app. Yeah.
Megan, I have to go back on. I still do. I have, like, my videos that I did, when you, like, just go back to your ones.
And
I have my go-tos, but you have so much content on there, which I love, because there's something for everybody. There's yoga. There's, literally, stretching. There's those 5-minute stretching. You don't need any weights. You don't need you have some with just body weight. That's exciting. Ooh, I'm going to do that for sure.
Yeah.
I
it's
love
so
that.
cool. It's just the idea of that is so cool. And it just honors the female body so much, because there are so times in my cycle where I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, I'm going to do that. Like, I'm going to do the best. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't want to move. I don't want to. And it all depends on your cycle.
Yeah. And it was great, is we also brought in a doctor to talk a little bit more medically about each phase, so you can learn a little bit more.
I'm literally going to go.
Yeah. It's great.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. And we have like a little chart, and you can kind of see like your energy of like how you're feeling in each phase.
Also, that makes total sense. Like I once got asked by a magazine, like, what is your mental health? Like I had checked off a bunch of things like self-care, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, my Flow app too. Like my period. If I am, in my different phases, I just know I'm not going to be the one to talk to, or I'm absolutely going to be the one to talk to, right? So that makes perfect sense that it coincides with working out and like doing what's right for your body, and kind of like that's such a tailored, almost very cool thing to offer. And you guys can go and check out the Sculpt Society. It's an app, and it is absolutely mind-blowing.
So
You will...
You're going to love it. Maybe we can edit this out, but do you want me to give you a code, or is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, they'd love that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
All right. Megan actually has a code for you guys, which is so exciting.
We're going to... we can use model 25. It'll get you a week free and then a 25% off your first month, which is great.
You guys,
let me know.
A gift. Woohoo. I'm so excited. Thank you, Megan.
Oh my gosh,
that's so thoughtful. And we're so excited. And I know that all the girls listening are so excited.
Yeah.
You have been, everyone's been asking about you. And what a perfect series to have you on. So thank you so much.
It really means so much. Thank you for wanting to talk to me. And it was so nice to see both of you.
Of course.
So nice. We appreciate your time, Megan, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for listening. You can catch a new episode of Model Citizen every Thursday. And please don't forget to follow the podcast so you don't miss any of the action. We want to hear from you. So please leave a rating and review and follow us on socials for all the behind the scenes action at Hunter McGrady and Mikhail McGrady. And don't forget, you are worthy, you are loved, and you are capable of doing all wonderful things. Bye, guys.